What's going on, everybody? Fox on Finance back again with an AMC update. Please remember that I am not a financial advisor. Nothing in these videos is financial advice. All right, guys, back again. It's been about 2 weeks since I last updated you. Today, we're going to look at a couple different things. It'll be a bit of a longer video, but it's going to be worth your time. You're going to want to stick around and see everything I got to show you today. All right. First things first, we're going to look at the box office totals. We're going to see where we're at for Q3. And then after that, I have a PowerPoint that I generated. It is pretty much a breakdown of each movie and the potential earnings. I think you guys are really like that. And it's going to give us a little bit of an indicator as to what we can expect for Q3, for the box office totals. So that's going to be huge. And then we're going to jump into the technical analysis portion at the end here. All right. So, real quick, looking at the update so far, and this is on a Saturday around 8 o'clock that I'm updating you guys. So, numbers are not even completely updated from the weekend, but we're going to be pretty much nearing $2 billion probably by the time tonight's over. When we wake up tomorrow, we'll see what Saturday brings. But I'm assuming by the end of Sunday as well, we'll be well over $2 billion for the box office for Q3 so far. And if we look at, we're on quarter to date. Look at the comparison from 2025. We are absolutely destroying Q3 from last year, basically by $500 million. All right, so that's pretty crazy. 2024 beating that one by 300 million. We are ahead of 2023 by about 100 million. But remember that 2023 had really a lot of backlogged, delayed movies. So I'm taking that number there with a grain of salt. 2023 in general, I'm taking with a grain of salt because of that situation. I believe that was due to the writer's strike where things were getting delayed and then they started dropping the movies all were coming out at the same time. So compared to 2022, killing it. And then obviously we're not going to talk about 2021 or 2020 because we were still coming out of COVID. But then looking at 2019, 2018, pre-pandemic, that is the big bear case, right? Is that we're not in pre-pandemic numbers. Well, now we're exceeding the pre-pandemic numbers. So that is huge. Looking at 2016, right on par. 2016 was like one of the golden years, I guess, for Q3 for the box office here. And we're on par even with that. So fundamentally speaking, box office numbers looking very, very good. All right. The other thing I wanted to point out is if I go to the yearly, I said this before too, guys, that in the beginning of the year, I was like, I want 10 billion plus this year for total box office earnings minimum. Okay. And then I also wanted to see a significant uptick in the amount of releases. And if you look here, look what we had before COVID. We had let's go back to 2015, 845 total releases on the year, 856 in 2016, 854, 993 in 2018, 910 in 2019. And then we had like a 50% drop off, obviously, because of COVID. And then it just took a while to really build this back up. Look at this 442, 502, 593. 677, 670. And again, the writer strikes did not help with all these delays. So now looking at where we're already at 466 releases on the year, and we still have 6 weeks to go in quarter three. So just wanted to point that out too, is that not only is the total gross catching back up, but the releases as well. And obviously, we need more releases. There's going to be more to see, more foot traffic, right? Kind of like what I said last video. So that's it for the box office. I don't want to spend too much time on this, guys. We're about like 4 minutes in off that. Let's go into the little PowerPoint presentation that I got here for you guys. I'll bring this guy up. It is this one. Perfect. All right. So really, this is the box office outlook. And you're going to see a bear case, base case, and this is off of Box Office Pro. So this is their projections. I didn't just pull these numbers out of my ass. But Box Office Pro, these are the projections that they are putting out. And the base case is going to be the Box Office Pro projections, okay? And then you have the bear case where if the movies are absolute flops, and then you're going to have a bull case where the movies actually exceed expectations, all right? So this is wide North American theatrical releases. This is no indie movies. This is stuff that obviously AMC is going to benefit from, only those kinds of movies. estimated domestic contribution, not worldwide, and implications for AMC's Q3, Q4 box office environment, but mainly focusing on Q3. I'm not really trying to jump into Q4 yet. We have no data for that. So we're going to stick to the quarter that we're in. Okay. Let's move forward. Before I move forward, top right here, you can see that the base case is that we will hit 1.1 billion from now to the end of Q3 is what they're projecting. Okay. So the slate points to a much stronger September. 32 wide releases, and the working slate estimates shown are lifetime North American theatrical gross. So we have the August base case. Okay, this is the projection for the rest of August. 400 million. This is about probably 4 days old, so like take that with a grain of salt. But at the time I started creating this, 400 million was the base case for August. September base case is 708 million, and that's where you're getting your combined base case of 1.1 billion. All right. So the scenario range is going to be from the bear side at 878 million here to the bull case scenario at 1.34 billion, which would be really good. And I think it's going to be possible to hit this number. But what really stands out, September represents roughly 64% of the combined base case gross. All right. 4 films, Forgotten Island, Practical Magic 2, Heart of the Beast, and Resident Evil account for about $400 million in the base case. All right. And I just feel like these movies combined, I think, are going to do better than this. But that's just my take. All right. So take it with a grain of salt. But August is deeper than it is top heavy. So we have Insidious and the Dog Stars. They're the clearest 50 million plus domestic drivers. And again, that is like off the base case. The AMC Q3 caution, late September films will earn a meaningful share of their lifetime totals in October. So we're going to talk about that. You know, where the releases are positioned in the month is going to matter because, you know, you could pretty much have to have a banger weekend. If they only get one weekend in Q3, well, obviously, we're not going to earn any of that money in October. That's going to dip into Q4, which is fine because we're going to need the firepower for Q4 anyway. But just keep that in mind. If you're only getting 2 weekends for some of these movie drops, then I don't expect them to blow it out of the water, if that makes any sense. Let's go forward. So here's the breakdown, and you guys can pause the video and freeze this. But you see the low, the base, and the high case, right? So we have the bearish case, the projected case, and then the bull case. All right. So August, a broad slate with several mid-sized contributors. The base case is $401 million, like I said, for August, and that's domestic. That's 16 wide releases in the working slate. But at the top, they have Insidious outdoing the Dog Stars. I think Dog Stars has Josh Brolin in it, so a lot of good actors also supporting him in that movie. The End of Oak Street looks pretty cool. It's like Jurassic Park, like 6 or 7 at this point. Coyote versus Acme. I expect some of the ones here to do much better than what they're projected, though. But these top 4 definitely, I think, can be huge contributors for August. All right. But yeah, you can go through that. You guys can kind of put out your numbers, what you think they might make. But yeah, that's what we got. All right. Then we got September. Base case is 708 million, like I said in the beginning of the video. And they got Forgotten Island being like the top grossing movie. I don't know. I think it's like a Pixar type movie, but it's not this is kind of like an IPO, I guess. It's like an original type movie. It's not like a Toy Story 5 or something like that. But it's interesting that they have this at top. You got Practical Magic 2 right here. And again, you got your numbers right here. So 90 million on the low case, 115 in the mid case, 140 in the bullish case. So this is interesting. Resident Evil being 4th place. I just don't see that. But I don't want to get into like movie debates here on the channel right now because I could spend here, you know, the whole 45 minutes or whatever just talking about movies and debating. But a lot of these ones that are on the bottom too, I feel like Fall 2 became pretty viral of a movie, the first one. But I feel like this is going to earn more, but I could be wrong. So, like I said, Primetime also with our Edward Cullen dude. What's his name? I can't even remember his freaking name. But he's going to be playing that. So that one I know was going kind of viral on social media as well. So I feel like that's going to do better than what they got for even the base case. But just like I said, freeze these. You guys kind of break it down, whatever you think is going to happen with that. But 708 million on the base case, I just don't see that being the case with all these good ones here, these top 5, right? Carrying. Let's go here. It says the top 4 films drive more than 1/3 of the base case. So again, Forgotten Island, Practical Magic 2, Heart of the Beast, Resident Evil, Insidious. So many good movies. I just don't see this, guys. I don't know. The more I look at this, I just can't get down with these numbers. And I feel like the movie projections, we've really been more bullish every single time they do like that mid base case. Like we've exceeded it. The movies have pretty much exceeded it. And then we get surprise movies, right? So I don't know. I'm just not really digging kind of the projections right now, but that's going to be better for us anyway. So next slide, the range is wide, but September remains the larger engine. Yeah, we definitely have a lot of banger movies coming in September, like I said. So right there, you could see the totals again combined. Bullish case scenario would be 1.34 billion combined. All right. And if we were to add that to right now, that's the other thing. I wanted to add these up. So if we were to add these guys either which way, even with the base case right now, 1.1, we're pushing 3 billion plus anyway. We're at almost 2 billion. Guys, to get 1.1 added onto that, we're already at 3.1. So it's going to be crazy. If we get 1.3 from this point forward, you're looking at 3.2 to 3.3 billion total for Q3. That's insane. That's going to be another positive EPS. All right. So that looks very, very good. And again, this is the release timeline. So really when you see, okay, so Forgotten Island and the Heart of the Beast, that's going to be one weekend. You're going to have Resident Evil for probably 2 weekends right here is what I'm thinking, right? Practical Magic 2, you'll have that for what, 3 weekends. So that's where it gets a little iffy with September, is that the banger movies are only going to get a couple weekends. So you have to hope that that first weekend there's going to be a strong showing, right? That's what we have to hope for, is that like Resident Evil gets like 120 million, 130 million the first weekend. That would be awesome, right? And I do think some of these movies have the potential to earn like a buck plus, a buck 20 plus, all right, in the first weekend or two. So early August, most of the theatrical run can occur inside Q3, which is great. Got a lot of good ones here that are going to carry forward into September anyway. Early mid-September, Q3 captures the opening burst, but legs begin crossing quarters. This is going to be very, very good, the transition from August to September. And then late September, a large portion of lifetime gross is likely recognized in Q4, mainly for these two here, probably these three, Forgotten Island, Heart of the Beast, and Resident Evil. I think Practical Magic 2 can get most of its run in this month, in this quarter, right? I don't see this particularly being one that's going to leak into Q4, but I could be wrong. I think it's like Sandra Bullock's in this one too. Anne Hathaway, I think, is in this. I could be wrong. I didn't even see the original. I think it was like a 1995 movie. So, all right. So, Healthy Slate can help, but AMC only captures its share of the industry gross, right? So, September depth, a stronger September can improve attendance consistency instead of relying on one tent pole. The genre diversification, we have a really good mix of films, guys. You got your adventure stuff, horror, animation, action, comedy, really something for everybody this remaining quarter. Last 6 weeks, we got plenty for everyone to see. And again, obviously, that's going to help increase the concession opportunities because multiple visits, right? I don't see people watching 2 or 3 movies in one sitting, so they're going to want to come back to next weekend, the next day. So that's going to increase food and beverage, right? That's going to help us with those sale numbers. That's going to increase our earnings as well. And then obviously Q4 carryover. We already have Doomsday, they were calling it, right? 2 huge movies in Q4, but then we have supporting movies all around those. And then you have Q3 carrying over into Q4 in the beginning. So I am really estimating, guys, that we're going to see Q3 and Q4 be $3 billion plus. That might be a real stretch to say, but I'm telling you right now, it looks really, really freaking good. To finish the year out going 3 billion plus, I can only imagine what that's going to look like on the TA side when I pull that up. And I think I already showed you guys the apex point closing, which is on January 2027, and that's going to be probably right around Q4 earnings. So you cannot make this shit up how this is all coming together. Okay. So then again, this is your breakdown. I'm going to skip this. I'm not going to spend too much time on this. We're already at 15 minutes, but this is again another breakdown for you guys just to look at. And again, bear case 878 million. That's pretty much far gone. I don't think we're even going to hit close to that. It's going to be between this and this, I think, right here. The base case at 1.1 and the bull case at 1.34. All right. All right, that is the end of the little PowerPoint slide. Sorry if I spent too much time on that, guys, but it is what it is. So now we're going to jump into the TA portion. Let's go over to this right here. Perfect. All right, I'm on Neo. I don't even know why the hell I'm on Neo right now. Okay, let's go to AMC. Let's turn off all the indicators real quick. Okay. We're on the daily. So as I said, anybody new that so happens to join the channel and is showing up for the first time, we had this massive cliff. Everybody knows at this point that's been following me, I'm concerned about getting back up here to this top of the cliff where everything fell apart with the Zern trial and the lawsuit. And then we had the ape conversion split and the dilution, just multiple catalysts hitting to the downside at once. And it created these gaps here in the chart right here and then right here. Okay. So I really am focused on getting back up here to this 55 to 45 ish range. And then even at minimum, filling the full gaps at $43. All right. And obviously, guys, before anybody tells you that we're getting back up there or we're just going to moonshot straight up there, is really talking out of their ass. At this point, guys, you see the people who are posting on Twitter, X, whatever, every single day telling you that we're going to moonshot, that we're going to squeeze, that we're jumping to $27. I'm telling you right now, when you look at the TA that I'm bringing out, it's been the most accurate out of everybody. And I'm not even just trying to be biased here and say that. But really, guys, I work very hard at this, and I just keep seeing people get crushed by the same, hype beast people out there throwing these price targets out. And I just don't understand where they're getting it because we have not even crossed key levels yet that I'm seeing here on my chart. So, speaking of which, we've got to break these resistances. We've broken these two right here, the 556 resistance line, as I pull this up a little bit more. We've broken this guy, and then we've broken this descending resistance that is originating at $11.88. And then the ceiling here that we have to break before we jump up to these gaps here, the first one at 19-ish dollars, is 13.90. I think I was calling it like 13.77 at one point in time because my thing was off here. It was not actually touching the top, but nonetheless, 13.90. All right. That's the ceiling that we have to break. And so the 1390 descending resistance that connects here to the 1188 goes all the way down. We have not broken this yet. So anybody telling you, yes, we're going to do this and it's going to happen tomorrow doesn't know what they're talking about. Because, guys, you have to see price action break to this line and it has to exceed it. Right? We're not even close to that. This line, we don't even get close to it until about, if we were to do it tomorrow, right? We would be about $5.53. We're down here at $2.50. We're talking about trying to have a 100% plus run just to get the test here to see if we can break it. Now, is it impossible that we have an impulsive move? No. But I'm telling you from what I'm seeing and how this price action is moving, it is a much slower wave pattern here. It is not all of a sudden just going to get to here from what I'm seeing and then just boom and just start squeezing. I don't see the macro market lining up with that yet. So if that was the case, if we were there where I think we need to be in the macro market sense, and I do mean the SPY and the IWM baskets, then fine. I could actually say, okay, that's possible. But I'm not even seeing that lined up yet. We haven't even hit those targets yet. And I will show you guys what I'm looking at with those charts and what I think we need to see before this thing really pops off. So without going on a super duper rant, let's just jump in and look at the structure because I just get frustrated seeing that shit, guys. Every single day it's this is going to go, this is going to go. And it's just like, what are we doing? It's just been 5 years of this stuff at this point. So right here, as I said, you broke your 556, your 1188. This one was like almost going downward nosedive, like I said before. And then we've been waving up, waving down, waving up, waving down, waving up, and then waving down. So we've been riding my support. I have changed nothing on these charts, guys, not a damn thing. And we are riding this green line perfectly right now. So even when we break it, it's sort of like a fake out. You can call it like maybe it's like a sort of like liquidity sweep or whatever, but it's coming right under, dipping under, and then rebounding, dipping right under, rebounding. we didn't even dip under it here this past couple trading sessions. We actually held and respected it. And what's interesting about that is like this is getting steeper of an incline. So to see this not break through like it's been doing in the pattern, it's actually a really good sign. And I did mention a head and shoulders pattern potentially playing out because we had this right here. Then we had the big head shoot up here, come down, but then it reversed. So the head and shoulders right now is even off the table. So this is really, really looking bullish. And like I just showed you with the fundamental aspect, the box office numbers and the potential earnings for these movies, guys, I don't see why at this point, I could be dead wrong because there's been times where I say, oh, I don't think this could go down to this level, and it does. But I just don't see a world where this comes down all the way here to 92 cents when the box office is freaking killing it. And AMC is handling the debt. They're doing everything that you could possibly do correct, right? Other than a complete market implosion, right? Some bullshit happening. But I drew this line out here particularly because I was seeing a lot of moonshot people out there, which I'm not totally against, but my God, after a while, you kind of have to see the pattern in front of you playing out. And I said, let me just do one scenario where it'll be a slow, drawn out levels, like I said, where it's going to take some time. It's going to go into 2027. A lot of people are like, oh, this guy's fucking crazy. It's not going to go into 2027. This guy's bullshitting. Guys, since I've drawn this up since the breakout, dude, that was back in April. And here we are, almost done with August. And there's still been no melt up move. Okay, so I don't know. Not saying I'm a super genius over here, but it doesn't take, a super genius to see this pattern playing out, and it's going much slower. Until I see this move right here, fine. And that doesn't even matter at that point because this thing's going to happen in like 2 to 3 days, maybe. Possibly a 5-6 day trading episode if you get an impulsive move like this, max. So at that point, you guys are just going to see the thing creeping up, but I still have all the levels there that we need to break. So following that support line, we have not deviated from that. That looks really good. The other thing that happened that I said before is right here. This dotted line is the volume profile, the thickest level here with the most volume here. I said this is going to be a doozy to get past. And the first time we shot up to it, what happened? We actually had a gap down. And I think this was the dilution, the share offering. But it played out perfectly because on the TA portion of it, guys, the news in this all lined up, came up, it surpassed it and tested it, got shot down. Then we creeped our way all the way back up to it just recently in the beginning of August. We got up to what, $3.04 officially. We surpassed the previous high at $2.95. So we're making higher highs. And then we got rejected again and it fell down. Now, I said something along the lines of, and this is where maybe I could have been wrong a little bit, was that we're going to have a cooling period off here, but we're going to continue this pattern. So maybe the order, I think I said something like in the beginning of August, right? We were coming down like this. And I said, what, second, third week of August, we should start getting the rip up. We're kind of doing that. We're not really seeing it all the way yet. But this week, if we start to see this thing ripping and melting up, then you can assume that for probably most of September, like if this gets pushed, finally past this dotted level at $2 and was it 76 cents. This is what I'm thinking. And I said this last time. If we rebound this time, we're probably going to fill up this gap in here on the volume profile chart. So that means I'm bringing out the old drawing tool. This level up here, 462. We are filling this gap because you can see the drop off in the volume bars, right? The strength of these bars here is really nothing. This is the guy that we're struggling to break right now. When you get past this, look at the shortening here. There's nothing. It's just an empty void for price action right here to get up through. And so that bar where the next resistance would be at is right here at $4.62, even up here around the $5.17 level. So between $4.60 up to the top of this bar at 418, or sorry, 518, we'll round up. So 462 to 518, and those bars you'll probably get rejected, and then you'll have a cooling off period going into October. That's what I'm thinking, right? For the rest of August, maybe we start to get the creep up now. And then we have the cooling off starting in the beginning, maybe middle of September. Maybe it's 2 weeks of really hard selling off because this is about to melt up to this level over here. Let me even just draw a little horizontal line so we can see it better. But let's say this purple line is our target for the next rally right here. So price action works its way all the way up to here. Then you get that hard rejection down. It just continues to slowly sell off into the Q3 earnings, right? And the way I got the price action spread out doesn't make sense. But let's say we start getting the rip up now. Boom. Hit this right here by the end of August. Then you get the slow selling off for most of September, and then probably come down, test the support again. And then in October, you're going to have earnings at some point here, whether it's going to be the beginning, middle. They might even drop earnings early in September, at the end of September, because they've done that before. But guys, I'm telling you right now, it's looking really, really good. We get through October, and you probably start to see the rally happening again. Only this time, when you go back up to this level, you'll be what? Probably right about in here. This is like my impulse move here, coming back for the breakout. But yeah, if we're in October, I want to say you could come back up, test it again, or test the actual top of the wedge here, resistance-wise, the 1390 descending resistance. You could definitely test that right here, come back down. And then when you get to this apex, I do think this apex in January of 2027 is going to be the breakout. That's just me. And I have two scenarios here for you guys. The first one being this. Finally, this would make sense to have an impulse move out of this. And that could happen like at the tip of the wedge, or it could even happen here. It could actually happen in December. It doesn't have to be January 2027. I'm just telling you, this is the tipping point of the wedge right here. The support meeting the resistance. As long as we're not breaking this way down here, then this is not going to have to open up. But I'm telling you right now, January 2027 late, guys, that sets up to be a perfect sequel for what happened in 2021. And then I could definitely see a gap up all the way up here to 1390. That for sure could be on the table. All right. So it's either going to be something like that, or you're going to have the breakout slightly, then come down, test the top of the wedge, and then trickle your way back up like we've been doing with some impulsive moves right here. Okay. So that is what I'm seeing in terms of the structure progression wise. Looking at, let me get rid of this too. I don't want this anymore here. Let's look at the indicators before I jump out of the video. And already right here on the RSI, we're sitting at 52.83. So 53 on the RSI, plenty of room to run for RSI. We can get up to oversold. We can ride that wave out. Like I said, that would be enough gas, I think, to get us up to like $4 even, or 440, 450. I think that definitely would be enough for us to get that shot up, especially if it's very quick and it's not like a slow build. So RSI looks good for the move. On the weekly, RSI is really pushing up there already. It was at 55. So yeah, even that on the weekly, we still have room to run for the RSI. That looks really good. MACD wise, I know we crossed down here on the daily, but even the bearish volume is very sideways. So I'm not a believer in this. I think you could see this curl right back up with the RSI being as low as it is until I'm proven otherwise. And then obviously that crossover is going to push the momentum upward. The weekly, I think this is all still bullish. Yes, still above the signal line with the MACD line. Monthly, clearly nothing's changed there. And then on the quarterly, still that sliver smidgen of bullish volume right here on the histogram. Nothing changing there. You can see the crossover coming in much better though. I'm gonna have to zoom this in for you guys. It's like a sliver of a crossover. So it's there. But again, I don't think it's going to happen until we finish out this next 6 weeks or so, where you really start to see this thing curl up. All right. So that is your MACD. Looks very, very good. Let's go back to my daily setup here. What else do we want to see? Our EMA bands. That's exactly where I want to go next. And then we'll look at pivot points. I kind of did it out of order today, but EMA wise, this is why I'm really thinking that this next wave is going to hit, because the 100 down here is about to cross the 200. Probably end of this week, maybe 2 weeks, I think. What are we looking at here, guys? 204 and then the 200's at like 206. It's like 2 cents away from crossing over. So that right there is only going to be bullish volume and momentum coming in. That's going to be our golden cross setup. So I think that could get you that rip right up to that 450 range. No problem when that crossover happens. All right. So the rest of them look good. Your candlesticks here from the last couple trading sessions are sitting right on the 9 EMA, which is obviously not the most strong EMA. But then right below that, you have the 27, you have the 48. You're above all the EMAs where you need to be. So tons of support and bounce zones right here. It'd be obviously catastrophic if we lost those EMAs and fell below this. I just don't see what the case would be for that. So I'm not even going to go there. So that's our EMAs on the daily. Looks very good. And then we'll finish out looking at the pivot points for August. I'm not sure if I covered these last video. I might not have because I think we were just entering August. I could be wrong. But we're riding the top of the blue pivot line. That is another thing, is that when I see multiple candles here, guys, we'll say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 candles sitting above the pivot line, it's showing pretty good strength to move up to at least R1 to start this thing off at $3.25. And if we get the continuation, if we get the crossover, which I'm assuming is going to happen if you get candles to kind of trickle up here, that's going to push the price right over the 100 price over the 200. And then you're going to get that violent push, I think, all the way up here, potentially up to R3. And that's at 450. So in between those two, you got the R2 at 367. But that's going to continue our pattern of making higher highs. All right. That's what I want to see. Higher highs, higher lows, right? No, lower lows. I think I said that wrong. Higher lows and higher highs. So R3 getting past a 450. What remains? Really nothing but this guy right here, the 1390 descending resistance line. That's pretty much it. So if we did get the golden cross and it was going to push past R3 like it has done before, like you could see right here in the June sequence, bursted past R3, and then over here in the April sequence, bursted past R3 again. So if that is the case, right now, if we're going to do this, if we're going to burst past R3, we'd probably hit our head right off the top of this wedge, and it would be around 526. So that would be super bullish rally right now. All right. And then I think after you hit that, you would probably have a sell off all the way, like I said, into September. That's just me guessing, but probably selling off or cooling down into September. And then when October comes, then we're going to see the final results of the box office. And obviously, they're going to get ahead of those numbers, I think, at that point in time when it's solidified what the numbers are. And then you're going to be pretty damn close, guys, to attacking the wedge again and breaking out. So, am I ruling out a breakout in early Q4? Absolutely not. But I'm telling you once more that this wedge, the apex of this, as long as price action stays in between these two lines, is going to hit an inflection point January 25th, January 27th, 2027. Okay. But that's what I got for you guys right now. I'm not even going to go over the downside targets. There's really no reason at this point for me to look at, $2 at this point or $1.20. It would be madness for me to see that. But then again, I've been surprised before. But that's pretty much it, guys. Those are the targets that we're looking for at least August. Those are the pivot points that we have generated. This is our track that we're on. We're following it. Everything's going according to plan from the TA side of it. From the news standpoint, even, I think inflation dropped, which is only going to benefit small cap stocks, right? That means more risk on approach. And then fundamentally speaking, we have everything going our way right now. So nothing really to be concerned about other than a surprise punch to the face by the world event stuff. That's pretty much all I have today for you guys. Hope you enjoyed the video, guys. If you're new, please subscribe. Come along on this journey with us because I think we've been mapping out everything to the T. We don't do a lot of hype stuff here. And if I am hyping stuff, you guys know that I'm seeing something major. All right. So I'll keep you guys up to date if I see anything change in between now and the next video. All right. You guys take care. Have a great rest of your weekend. If you're seeing any movies, man, go enjoy yourself. All right. Have a good time. I'll see you guys in the next one.